Om Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murtibheda Vibhagine Vyomavadvyaptadehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Apyayantu Mamangani Vakpranaschakshushrotramatho balamindriyani cha sarvani sarvam brahma upanishadam maham brahma nirakuryam Mama Brahma Nirakarot Anirakaranamastva Nirakaranam me astu Tadatmani Nirateya Upanishatsu Dharmaste Mayi Santu Te Mayi Santu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Trivrit Karanam follows the same, as it turns out. I was wrong. Follows the same logic as Panchi Karanam. So half of each element, along with what? 1/4 of the other two. Okay? So not 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. Half of each element and 1/4 of the other two. And then that is how we have gross fire, gross water, and grossified earth. And that is what is going to be said now. Tasam trivritam Ekaikam Karavani iti Sa iyam devata Imaha tisro devataha Anenaiva Jivena atmana Anupravishya Namarupe vyakarot. Yeah. So, not much to explain here. So, tasam trivritam, we saw that. Ekaikam karavani iti. So, let me be a full-fledged element. Let me be a full-fledged element. So, saying this Sat. So, what is this Sat? Equipped with Maya Shakti, Ishvara. So, this Ishvara, which is Devata here, which is Bhagavan here. So this Bhagavan in the form of what? Devata entered, as it were, what? The other three Devatas. How? In the formula that we had a lot of trouble calculating. So as per that formula, entered into these three Devatas, which are what? Sat alone. That Sat alone, as it were, became these three Devatas in the form of the subtle fire, subtle water, subtle earth, and liked what it saw, and that said, let's go full-fledged here and grossify ourselves so that we will have our own name, we will have our own form, but then we are non-separate from what? Sat. And how it entered Jivena Atmana. We saw that yesterday. Jivena Atmana in the form of I. Yes, I. We saw that yesterday. And in the form of the very I. And this is in keeping with what? This is very much in keeping with the Taittiriya Shruti, Tasmadva etasmad atmanah akashah sambhutah. The Akasha has come from what? Atma, not Brahman. So here it goes even a step further. It is in the form of this I. In the form of this I, the so-called entry took place, meaning all the elements are what? Hello? No, I. Even after telling the answer doesn't come. What to do? After telling the answer, still it doesn't come. Yes. So everything, all the elements are what? Aham, myself alone, non-separate from myself. That is what is the oneness here. Everything is me alone. So the Devata here is needed for the sake of this entry and creation, etc. But that Devata is not non-separate from this I. The Sat is non-separate from this I. The Sat and the Self are one and the same. Already that oneness has been coined here, understood here, already it has been referred to in this. Later on it's going to be explained in more detail, but basically that is basically what it is. So if it enters in the form of me, myself alone, in the form of this jiva, and that's why it says jivena atmana, the atma that obtains in this complaining fellow, this jiva, I'm alienated, this is the one. This is the one, the content of this one, the truth of this one is abiding as the whole Jagat. Where is the alienation? Where is the duality? Where is the separation? Where is the sorrow? Where are the complaints? They should all be what? Gone already. Okay? So from now on, what is not going to be there in our lives? Complaints. Okay? Because this is a big shocker that all the elements are what? Me alone. They are all I. They are all an extension, as it were, of the same I. It's I all the way. And then, what is this Ishvara? This Ishvara, with the creative power of all the elements, is what? I alone. Connected to this I, first we can say connected to this I, non-separate from this I, and then we say identical with the I. And that is what is there to understand. So then there is a discussion of these three elements, because for the person who got the wrong answer when they were asked, what are these elements? And then what did they say? Sat instead of I. So for those people there is a longer discussion. A longer discussion and it's almost like, if you are on the road with the GPS and you take a wrong turn. It tells you go straight and you took a turn by mistake. And then what does it do? Recalculating, recalculating. And here the Shruti is recalculating what? Our buddhi, that's all. It said something and now it is recalculating how to better teach these people who are in a state of shock and denial. How can I be these elements? All right, let's backtrack. And then what do you think you are? I am this body. I am just this body. Okay. Who is this person? With Dehatma Buddhi. The Dehatma Buddhi doesn't go and very easily. So the person who is still very much self-referential means connected to and identified as the body-mind sense complex, for them this other teaching, which we are going to skip other than a small reference because we don't belong to that that category at all. We are what shall we say? Seasoned Vedantins. Yeah, with some garam masala sprinkled, chaat masala sprinkled on top. Seasoned Vedantins we are. So we will skip this section. But there is a little bit I have retained, so we know the flavor of where this discussion is going to go. So this discussion is going to take a two-pronged approach. And what is that? First, the body cannot be denied, and the body need not be denied, must not be denied, because body is what? Abba, yes. Body is Atma, but Atma is much more than the body. Okay? Yeah. 2 times got wrong. First thing in the morning. Okay? So, we will pray for the 3rd time to be a charm. So, body is not outside of Atma. Can it be outside of Atma? Say no. Okay, so let's move on. And so, body is not outside of Atma. Mind is included in Atma. Senses are included in Atma. In fact, nothing is outside of Atma. But Atma transcends all these things. This is what we have. Atma transcends means it is much more than just this body. Because why? It is the truth of all bodies. Therefore, it can't be just this body. But this body is being mithya, can never be separated from this Atma. So now, let us go back to the 3 elements, now happily grossified with their own name and form. And what is the first one called? Fire. Second one is called what? Water. Third one is called what? Earth. And each of these gross elements are connected to this body-mind-sense complex in a much more gross way than the subtle way of the eye, as though entering into all this. And what is that gross way? That is the one that is described next. Annamayam hi somya manaha apomayah pranah tejomayi vag iti. Yeah. So therefore, he says that this annamayam pranam, this prana is what? Annamayam, annamayam manaha. So manaha is annamayam. Maya means what? Vikara. Vikara means what? Modification. And as though modification of this food is what? The mind. The mind and the food are very intimately connected, so don't feel bad if food is always on your mind. Because this is what the Shruti says. Okay? Yeah, some people are like that. And, in certain cultures, it's like that. Food is very important. So constantly thinking about what to make. And then what to make for what purpose, what to eat. And then what to have next. I can't have the same thing because that was done and now I have to have something else. So all the gatherings are around what? Food. That's why when anybody is starting a Gita home study, I have to tell them, put the food away. Don't gather around food. Because then what will happen? Foodie home study will happen. Gita will go into the chiller. That's what will happen. It will cool off. So therefore, the food and the mind are connected, not in this way. This was a joke. Food and mind, how are they connected? The food nourishes the mind. Food nourishes the mind. If you stop eating, you stop thinking. You may say, actually, I want to do that. I want to not think anymore. So that's not the idea. So there is a connection between the functioning of the mind. The mind includes all the other things. Buddhi, emotions, all these things. The mind includes here. It's a upalakshana. Mind includes buddhi here. And so all of them, if you withdraw food, all of them stop working. This is what is called annamayam hi manaha. And then what? What comes after the Prithvi? So the Prithvi Tattva here, Upalakshita by the word Annam, is connected to the mind. And then what is the next one? Water. Here you can't go wrong, because if you go from fire, water, earth, what is in the middle? Water. And if you go earth, water, fire, what is in the middle? Water. So this is a no-brainer, okay? Yeah, and so water. The water is connected to prana. If you stop drinking water, then the prana is in danger. Water is very important for life. Life here means prana here. So the water is very important for life. And what is this life? The life is where the prana is held in the body. That is what is called prana, life. If the prana goes away, then life also goes away. So, apomayaha pranaha. You see how even on the gross level there is a connection with these elements? So the content of these elements is I alone, but even at the level of the body, if I cannot get my mind around it, the other way to look at it, in addition to this, is to see that all these are connected to the me that obtains, in the form of this body, mind, sense complex. So apomayaha pranaha. Then finally, tejomayi vak iti. Tejomayi vak, fiery is the speech. That's why we have to be careful. Don't talk first and then regret for the rest of the life. Modulate the speech. So this is the conclusion after this exhaustive enquiry into the nature of all these things, into the nature of the fire, water and earth, these three elements that are discussed here. Then another related discussion that we are also going to skip is that each thing that is discussed here is divided into three. Why? Because there are three elements, and then the three elements are also divided further into the three. Don't confuse with Trivrit Karanam, that is done here. It is more in the sense of the gross part of the food and the middle part, the slightly less gross part of the food, and the subtlest part of the food, and then what they do in turn. So, annam ashitam tredha vidhiyate. So, the eaten food is divided into three, as it were. So, the grossest part of the food that is eaten is excreted as waste. So the middle part of the food that is eaten, what does that do? It strengthens the various gross aspects of the body. Different things like mamsam, the muscles, etc. It nourishes that. And the subtlest aspect of the food nourishes the mind. It's not that the idlis go straight to the mind. No. So the idlis go through a process of, what is that? Where they are divided into three, and the gross part is digested, excreted, and the middle part is going to nourish the various body parts. And then what else? The subtlest part goes to nourish the mind. And then what comes next after Annam? Water. So the water also, so apomayaha pranaha, we saw that. So the gross part of the water, this is again a no-brainer, is excreted in the form of, waste, sweat, etc., urine, sweat, etc., all the liquid wastes. And then the middle portion of the water goes to nourish the blood. And then the subtlest portion of the water nourishes the prana. And then same thing with fire. Tejaha ashitam. Oh, you eat fire? Ashitam means the eaten fire. Now, fire here is upalakshana for this, what is that? Fatty things like oil, ghee, that is connected to fire, Ayurvedically speaking. So if the Jatharagni, the stomach fire, is weak, they will ask you to take a little bit of melted ghee with your food to kick-start that, this fire. So this fire here is dull, so that fire in the form of ghee is asked to be taken so that it kick-starts that, it kindles the hunger. So then there also the grossest part is excreted, and then the middle part is nourishes certain sinews, muscles, etc., marrow, and then what else? The subtlest part, what does it do? Vak. That's why all the pandits who chant Rudram, etc., how do they begin their food? They go like this, melted ghee is poured, glug, glug, glug. Yes, because they need to have strong vocal cords. Yeah, you start eating fat, vocal cords will be strong. Other things will also happen, but we won't dwell on that because that's outside the scope of this this particular portion. So therefore, this is what it is, and here also on the gross level there is a connection, because my mind is connected to what? What is my mind connected to? Which element? Food, earth. And my speech is connected to fire. My prana is connected to water. Here also I am connected. Even on the gross level I am connected. What to talk of the subtle level? And then what to talk of the I that inhabits everything in the form of all these elements. And so now what happens? So then after hearing this, Shvetaketu, who is just like us, says the following: Bhuya evama Bhagavan Vijñāpayatu iti. People didn't have breakfast? Yeah. So little, chant with a little gusto. Okay, yeah. Tatha iti, tatha somya iti, hovacha. Much better. Now it sounds like a Vedanta class. Okay? Yeah. So then, after hearing all this, what did Shvetaketu say? Can you please explain this again? Yeah, we are in good ranks. Okay? Can you please tell us this again? Please, please, please. Tatha means so be it. Tathastu. The father didn't say what? Father didn't throw a piece of chalk at him and say, what's wrong with you? I explained. Were you sleeping? No. In Vedanta teaching, if one understands 1/100th of what is being said, then this calls for jubilation. It's cause for celebration. Okay? And so in that spirit, why? We saw the reason earlier. Ati sukshmatvat, because the subject matter is very subtle. Durvigneyatvat cha, because it is difficult to understand. So therefore, the Vedanta teacher has to be very patient, and then, and then the Uddalaka shows himself to be an extremely patient teacher and says, okay, no problem, I will tell you this again. And then he says, okay, no amount of talking is going to help. Let him find this out himself. How the prana is connected to water and how the food is connected to what? The mind, etc. Let's give an experiment. In fact, we could have done it in this retreat. Yeah. What is that? He is told to fast for 15 days. Yeah. 2-week retreat. Vedanta in action. A lived Vedanta retreat, 2-week fast, featuring a 2-week, 15-day fast. What will the potential student say? Not so fast. We are not coming. Yeah, if that were to be instituted at Arshavidya Gurukula, then it will just be empty chairs. No one will sign up for this retreat. In fact, most people come for the food, okay? Because it's so good here, and then so people like to come here to eat and to talk with people, etc. So if they are asked to fast and just be on water, this is not a Vedanta retreat at AVG. What is it? It's like a naturopathy retreat. Naturopathy is very interesting, okay? They make you drink water, which is free, and then what? The whole time, and then what? And then every disease is cured this way. They have very little overhead expenditure. No medicines, no food, just water. Keep on taking water, water, water. And then, so, Shvetaketu was told, please fast for 15 days. Do not eat anything, but ichhataha means how much ever you want, according to your desire. What should you do? Drink water. For the one who drinks water, the prana will not leave the body completely. It will try to leave, but it will stay back. Go do that and come. Because see, no amount of talking is going to help. Uddalaka knew his son, said, let's do a demo. And what is this demo? No classes for 15 days. And then, what do? Keep sipping water, don't go anywhere near the kitchen, and then don't eat. And then this is the experiment. Let's see what happens. Shodasha kalaha Somya Purushaha Panchadasha Ahani Ma Ashihi Kamam Apaf Piba Apomayaf Pranaha Napibataha Vichhetsyate iti. Yeah. So, a person is comprised of 16 kalas. This is like the complete person. 16 kalas. What these kalas are, we find in the Srimad Bhagavatam and other Puranas, because they are discussed there as some of them are like daya, compassion to the fullest measure, overlordship, asangatvam, the one who is nishpaksha means justice, who is the embodiment of justice, who is able to see very clearly what is just, impartial. And then, so things like that. All these comprise 16 kalas or aspects. So the animals will display one or two kalas. Not that they don't have them, but then they display, or they are only able to manifest that much. And then a regular person may display maybe 7 or 8 kalas, up to 7 or 8 kalas. And then a Mahatma, a Jnani, would be like 10, 12 kalas. Avatars like Rama are said to have manifest or displayed 12, 13 kalas. But Lord Krishna, all 16 were completely intact. This is the belief, this is what is there. So we don't have to obsess on the kalas, just know that they are there. Okay, these kalas are there. And then how many kalas are there? 16 in number. Shodasha kalaha purushaha. So these 16 aspects are there. And so then what happens? Like the moon, each kala starts to diminish the day you do not eat. So the maximum you can fast is according to this Upanishad. I mean, of course, people have fasted longer. There is so many fasts unto death and all these things are there. People can fast longer, but here, without really damaging the brain or deranging the vata element in the body and all these things, comfortably you can fast for 15 days. So because every day, like the waning moon, one kala becomes weaker and disappears. This is the belief. And so on the 15th day, how many kalas are remaining? One. And so he says, Shodasha kalaha purushaha. So a human being is composed of these 16 kalas. O dear one, he somya, panchadasha ahani. Ahani means days, plural. Yeah. So panchadasha means 15 days. 15 days, what should you do? What should you not do is better. Ma ashihi, do not eat for 15 days. Okay? Kamam apaf piba. Ichhataha, as much as you want, what should you do? Keep going glug, glug, glug. Keep drinking water. Keep on drinking water. Do not eat, however. And then what will happen? And then you will know. What will you know? Apomayaha pranaha. Apomayah pranaha. So apomayah pranaha. Apomayah pranaha means this prana is connected to apaha. Therefore keep drinking. So pibataha, for the one who is drinking, even though they are not eating. So this is what is the connection. For the non-eating but drinking one. Pibataha. So for the pibataha, na vichyetsyate, will not leave. That na is not going with pibataha, not na pibataha vichetsyate. Look at your text. It is pibataha na vichetsyate. So for the drinking one who is not eating, the one who is drinking water, the prana will not go bye-bye. The prana will still remain where? In the body. And then what did Shvetaketu say? I'm out of here. Up till now the class was interesting. I'm off. Bye, Dad. Did he say that? No. He's better than all of us. He continues to persevere because his desire to learn this is so much, very much, he's on fire here. And so he does exactly as he is told. Saha panchadasha ahani na ashatha ha enam upasasada kim bravimi bho iti richaha somya yajugumshi samani iti sahovacha navaima pratibhanti bho iti. So the fellow did as he was told, and 15 days did not touch the food. And then what happened? And then on the 16th day, what did he do? Approach the father. Ha enam means the father approached. Upasasada. Then upasasada means approached. And then approached and said what? Out of politeness, said, what would you like me to chant today, Dad? And the father knew where this experiment is going and said, why son, come on, chant Rig Veda, chant Yajur Veda, and Samaveda is our own Veda, chant that too. He said, okay. But then even the first mantra of the Rig Veda he could not recall. We cannot recall even after eating, okay? So, poor fellow, after 15 days of fasting, could not recall the first thing about Rig Veda. Rig Veda? Is there such a thing? What is that? Forget Agnimi Ile Purohita Yajnasya. And that's the first mantra. He could not even recall what is Rig Veda. Let alone Samaveda. Samaveda takes a lot of prana to be able to chant. Nothing he had, no food, the mind was itself not working. Prana, Samaveda goes like this. How, how, how. Haven't eaten for 15 days. Ha, who? Yeah, that is how it is. Yeah. Ha, who, what? Sama? Is there such a thing? What is that? Yajumshi. Yajur Veda mantras with which we do oblations here every day. Shvetu, come on. At least remember Swaha, Vashat. These are the what is the unique things, unique features of the Yajur Veda, because it's only when you hear the terms Swaha and Vashat you can offer into the fire. So the same Rig mantras are chanted in the Yajur Veda. The Yajur Veda becomes the main Veda for all rituals, because it's the only one that has Swaha and Vashat. So therefore, he doesn't remember Swaha, because his stomach is going ha 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 ha. He doesn't remember Swaha. He doesn't remember anything. And then, very desolately, he tells his father, Navai mam, navai, not indeed, pratibhanti. Pratibhanti means they don't shine in my mind. You see, this is the beauty of mantra. The mantra is seen. That's why they are called the seers of the mantra. And the seers of the mantra, when they taught the students, what did they teach the students? To see the mantra that they had seen. That's why no notebooks, anything, even now in the Veda Pathashalas, where they have these young children studying, no notebook you will see. Nothing, no pen, no paper. Oh, they all have iPads? Not that either. Nothing, no tablet, nothing. Everything, they have to see the mantras flashing before the eyes. The mantra that the Rishi saw becomes your own mental vritti. This is discussed at length in the Manomaya Kosha in the Taittiriya Upanishad. It's very, very beautiful. So the vritti, that which is in the form of vrittis. Vrittis means thought forms, which makes me see the mantras. See how beautiful this is? Because the thought forms of a Vaidika are what? Mantras. Words of the mantras, the meters, the chandas of the mantras, the lines of the mantras, the arthas of the mantras. That is what replaces the thoughts, or should replace the thoughts. It's look at that preparation. Look at the rigorousness of the rigor in this preparation for what? Atma Jnanam. And what about our thoughts? Where are they? Who knows? All over the place. Who shall I judge next? Who shall I critique next? Yeah. Who shall I write off next? Because they are not there for me. Who shall I blame next? These are our thoughts. This is where our thoughts go. See, everything when it's retained in the head, all the mantras are retained in the head, they replace the thoughts. And that is why there is a Arthaspuranam takes place, not only of the first portion of the Veda, but then when Vedanta is taught to such a person, then there is no other ragadveshas and no other thoughts there other than mantra. Other than sacred thoughts, holy thoughts have replaced everything. And so therefore, what does the person do? Takes to Vedanta like a fish to water. You take fish from one body of water, put it in another body, it's not even shocked for a second. It starts to swim immediately. Like that, effortlessly, one swims in the deep waters of self-knowledge very easily when one's thoughts are what? Mantra. The words of the mantra, the meaning of the mantra, the chandas of the mantra, all blessed by the rishis who initially saw them and have been transferred to me because of good karma. And now what do? Only see those mantras. But then bereft of food, poor Shvetu could not see anything. Could not see anything at all. And then, so he said, Navai mam pratibhanti. He doesn't say, I don't recollect. They don't shine for me. What a beautiful way to put this. They don't shine for me. They are not there for me to see. They are not manifesting themselves to me anymore. Poor Shvetu. Now what to do? So then, see the last part. Tam hovacha yatha somya mahatah abhyahitasya ekah angarah khadyotamatrah parishishtasyat tena tatah api na bahudahet evam somya te shodashanam kalanam eka kala atishishta syat etarhi vedan na anubhavasi ashana athame vijñāsyati iti. Yeah, so then the father, after this successful experiment, even though he failed to chant, the experiment was a success. So the father said to the son, what did the father say? Look here. Hey Somya, oh dear one, just as Mahataha Abhyahitasya means from a big conflagration, big fire, which has died down because of what? Lack of fuel. When you stop putting logs, it dies down. Let's say, you're feeling cold and you have this fireplace and you keep putting wood and it's burning bright, but then you're ready to go to sleep. You don't any longer need the fire. You stop feeding the fire and then you go to sleep, and eventually what happens? It dies down, and yet it might have one little ember. Angarakaha means ember. One ember somewhat left under all the ashes. So the next morning, if you are cold, you blow on those embers, one ember, and then you can, immediately put some wood and start the fire again. Just like in a fire that was like a big conflagration, which now has died down almost, and only one ember is left. What is that ember able to burn? Ayyo. What is that ember be able to burn? Nothing. It's not able to burn anything. Perhaps a little matchstick it will be able to burn. It's not able to burn anything at all. Just like that, out of your 16 kalas, what is left? One measly kala is left. That's why the mantras do not shine for you. Mantras cannot shine for you. Mantras do not shine for you. Why? Because just like this big conflagration, out of the big conflagration there is one ember left. When it was a big conflagration, it would have had a village for breakfast, no problem. It would have burned down the house and the rest of the village also, no problem. But what is left? A powerless, small ember, the size of a glowworm. Khadyota matraha. Khadyota means glowworm, which goes like this. In the dark on a summer night, you look, here now, gone now, here now, gone now. It has its own flashlight, carries its own flashlight, and here now, gone now. You see, now you see it, now you don't. That is how one of your kalas is like a fire that has been completely deprived of indhanam. What is indhanam? Fuel. You are like that. All the kalas, almost all the kalas are gone. One sad little kala, glowworm-like. Khadyota matraha means khadyota parimana. Parimana means size. The size of a glowworm is left. Therefore, they are not enough to fire up the mantras. Your kalas are not enough, sufficient. There is not enough sufficient nourishment to fire up the mantras because there is only one kala left. And then what is he told? Ashana, bhunkshva, go eat. Eat and come, and then you will know the truth of what I am saying. Then what did he do? Saha ashatha ha enam upasasada tamha yatkincha papracha sarvam pratipede. Yeah. So then he went and had a nice meal, ate everything that he possibly could, came back, approached the father again, and before the father could say, chant the Rig Veda, the entire Rig Veda was chanted by him. The Yajur Veda was also, came tumbling out of his lips. No problem at all. What to talk of Sama, Atharva, everything. Whatever papracha, whatever the father asked, everything pratipede. He was able to deliver. He was able to deliver everything that was asked of him. A very successful, although not a replicable, what? experiment. Very successful experiment. So, because he said, I don't see the connection. Please tell me again. How is Annamayam hi manaha? I don't know. Okay, don't eat. You will know very quickly. How is the mind connected to Annam? You will know. That's why when the mind is very restless and goes all over the place, then you know it is not grounded. So therefore the meditation and other practices are to ground the mind, and the mind is connected to the earth element. So this is very, very deep, very, very beautiful. And so the experiment was a great success. And then what happened? The father then said, Tam hovacha yatha somya mahataha abhyahitasya ekam angaram khadyota matram parishishtam tam trinaihi upasamadhaya prajvalayet tena tatah api bahudahet. Really patient teacher. Okay, this should have clinched it, but no. The father explains what happened before the food, and using the same metaphor of a conflagration that has been deprived of fuel, and then using that same simile explains what happened after the son ate the food. So he tells his son, so now what had happened? What had happened earlier was, so this big conflagration, this blazing fire, what happened? Out of that, one ember was left, and which was the size of a glowworm. And then what did we do to it? With the help of a few dry pieces of hay. Trinaihi. Trinam means grass. Don't think of fresh grass. Okay, that's, we have to use our imagination. The Upanishad will not sit and spell everything out. So, not fresh grass. What kind of grass? Dried grass. Dry grass. A few pieces of hay. So, with a few, you can't just put a big log on that poor ember. It will die. It will be smushed and it will just be snuffed out. No. And so, trinaihi, with small pieces of dried grass, you stoke that ember, and then eventually what do you do to it? You build a huge fire, you get it back to the place of where it was before. What was it before? A huge conflagration, and so you bring it back to the level of the huge conflagration, and that is exactly what has happened to you. First it was the size of a small little glowworm. All your kalas were deprived of food, and you were sitting there miserably moping, not able to recall anything that you had studied. And then what? Trinaihi. So similarly, see, this is very beautiful here, because the Upanishad tells us that after 15 days of fasting, don't go to a big buffet lunch. Okay, you won't be able to eat anything. You will snuff out even the little bit of thing that there is. So how do you break your fast after 15 days of fasting? With some liquid things and then some solid things. I'm glad nobody answered by saying with dried blades of grass. Yeah. So I was ready for that also. Okay. So then, so just like the fire, the small baby fire is tended with a few pieces of dried hay, similarly, this jiva who has fasted for 15 days, first is told to break the fast gently. Even though the Upanishads, goes very fast, discussing this fast. So, even though the Upanishad goes very fast, what do we have to remember? We have to remember that this would have unfolded over a course of time. The mother of Shvetaketu would not have let him eat a huge meal with laddus and all these things, And so therefore, she would have first given some water, she would have given him something to, and the fast would be gradually broken. And then that is the Upanishad that is not the commitment of the Upanishad, but a nod to that process is given by how the ember is tended to. The ember is made big again, not by putting a huge log on it and snuffing, which will actually snuff it out. The ember is made into a huge fire by slowly tending it with what it can burn, what it can take. Similarly, in this experiment, over the process of time, what happened? Shvetaketu was able to recall after slowly breaking the fast, and then all the pranas came back, and all the, kalas came back. And then what happened? Evam somya te षोडशानां कलानां एका कला अतिशिष्टा अभूत् सा अन्नेन उपसमाहिता प्रज्वाली तया एतर्हि वेदान् अनुभवसि अन्नमयं हि सौम्य मनः आपोमयः प्राणः तेजोमयी वाक् इति. Yeah. So, evam somya. So, this was the drishtanta. What was the drishtanta? The conflagration. The example is of the conflagration, first deprived of fuel and reduced to one ember, miserable, almost dying out fire, and then that ember is nourished with small pieces of hay, and then small pieces, chips of wood, and then logs, and then brought back to a blazing fire. This is the drishtanta. Similarly, yatha was given earlier. Yatha means in which manner. Tatha, so too, in the same manner. Tatha somya, evam somya, tatha, in the same manner. Te, for you, shodashanam kalanam, for you, out of the 16 kalas, eka kala atishishta abhut. One kala was remaining, only one kala was hanging in there. Sa, that kala, kala means feminine, so sa kala, that kala, annena upasamahita prajwali. What happened? Prajwali. So what happened to that kala? It was nicely samahita, nourished by annam. Nourished by annam, it was lit up. So that kala was lit up means what? It was lit up means it then multiplied. Like the fire multiplied. One ember became 2 embers and 4 embers and everything until it reached the previous state of a conflagration. Similarly here, that one kala was nourished by food, and then the other kalas that had disappeared slowly started to come back. And then taya etarhi. So because of this, because of that, what happened? So because of that, now you are able to Vedan anubhavasi. You are able to experience the Veda. Experience the Veda how? In the form of thoughts, in the form of vrittis. Mantramayi vritti. So the vrittis are just what? Mantras alone. Every thought becomes mantra. And that's why the mantras are all there. The mantras that are studied are all there. And if they are nurtured and kept, then they will be there. And that's why we avoid too much distraction and foraging into all these areas which have nothing to do with our path. And what is the path? Moksha, Atmajnanam. And it is up to us how to keep the mind in keeping with the mantra drishtaraha. So they saw the mantras and they gave us to see. So we continue to be with the mantras and convert every vritti into mantra. And so therefore, what happens here? So then he says, so Vedan Anubhavasi. So you are experiencing the Vedas. You are now experiencing the Vedas. And then you are able to chant. You are able to recall. You are able to repeat. So the Grahana Shakti, to grasp, the ability to grasp is made intact by the food. And then in the mind, the ability to retain is made intact by the food. In the mind, the ability to recite, to give that out, is also to share that with others, is also made intact with the help of the food, again in the same mind. So therefore, He Somya, therefore, dear one, whatever I said stands. And what did I say? He repeats that. What does he say? That Apomayaha Pranaha. And then, before that, Annamayam hi Manaha. Apomayaha Pranaha. Tejomayi Vak. Even if you remember these three things, it will go a long way to assimilate this portion of the teaching. Very, very beautiful. So, not only is the content of every element this I, which the truth of which is consciousness, not only is the content of every element what? The I alone. But also, the I that obtains in this body-mind-sense complex, the body-mind-sense complex is also connected with the various elements on the subtle, not so subtle, and the grossest levels. On all three levels, we see the connection between the three elements. We shouldn't call them elements. What are they? Devatas. So, no matter how badly one feels about the body, there is self-loath with regard to the body. I hate my body, I hate my mind, I hate all these things. But really what? They are blessed by Devatas. Each time one drinks water, then what is one? One is attaining oneness with Devata. Bhagavati, water is Bhagavan. Water is Bhagavan. And then each time one eats food, what is one gaining oneness with the body? What is the body gaining oneness with? Bhagavan. This is Annam Brahma. I told you yesterday that when Bhandara takes place in Rishikesh, they go around serving, saying, Sabji Ram, Roti Ram, Dal Ram. Everything is Rama, Rama, Rama. Rama in the form of dal. Then you can't complain about the dal, which is very nice. You can't say, what is this they are serving? You can't say dal is too watery today, or the dal is insipid, or who made this dal? Why? It is Rama now. It has undergone a ramification, okay? The ramification of which understanding is very deep. It has been Ishwarized. The whole thing is just so beautiful. The whole thing is just amazing. So, even a mundane act, thoughtless act, who thinks I'm drinking water? Who thinks? Nobody thinks. You just go and pour yourself some water and drink it, and then it's all mindless. But here, you are sipping what? Bhagavan. You are sipping Bhagavan. Who are you? Bhagavan. Because that which made the water is you. So sipping Bhagavan, and then what is that? Eating Bhagavan. Eater is Bhagavan. Drinking Bhagavan. Drinker is Bhagavan. And all this is just, this teaching is mind-blowing, really. And even though this aspect of the Hindu dharma, the Vaidika dharma, which aspect, the mindfulness as aspect, has been taken by Buddhism and highlighted there. They took two things that really matter in Hinduism and they highlighted them, which is very nice. One is mindfulness, and the other one is compassion. These two things they took and they highlight them in the practice, which is very, very wonderful. And then, what is that? So this is the Zen. So Zen also came from what? Vedanta only. Zendanta, that's what it is. And so this mindfulness is already here. And if mindfulness cannot be learned, just fast for 15 days. And then it will be very quickly become a way of life. This is what is prescribed here. There is the repercussions of this is really very, very deep, because the disconnection that one feels, even on the level of the body-mind-sense complex, from Ishvara, from the universe, from one's fellow beings, from other bodies in the world, all this, from the Jagat, all this is completely swallowed up here, very beautifully. And how is that presented? It is presented as first one. What is that one? Sat. Yeah, that one Sat. Sat alone was before everything became Vyakrita. Avyakritam Sat. Avyakritam means undifferentiated. Undifferentiated as a potential, unmanifest, undifferentiated, the truth of everything, including this Jagat, was what? Sat alone. Let us call it Sat. It's the abstract form of existence. Why is it abstract existence? Because the existence that we know comes to an end. The existence that we know comes to an end, so it's an abstract form of existence. And this abstract form of existence, which is used by the Upanishad, both here and in the Taittiriya Upanishad, it has undergone the concept of existence has undergone a cleansing. Cleansing in the sense of freeing it from the regular notions of time-bound existence. So the essence of the verb to exist is retained, and the time-boundness is thrown away. And so the word Sat becomes an indicator of Brahman, Lakshanaya, not through direct meaning. So the Vachyartha does not work. Brahman exists, big deal. I also exist, Yeah. I also am subject to death, and therefore Brahman also will be subject to death. How do you know that Brahman is forever? You are not there, so how will you know Brahman is forever? This is the argument of the person who hasn't understood. But here, through this unique method, what is this unique method? Bhagatyaga Lakshanaya. A device, a pedagogical device through which the direct meaning of the words are given up in order to arrive at the indirect meaning. Implied meaning of the words are used to reveal the truth of the self by the words themselves, because we cannot use words that people don't know. You can't have special words for Brahman. Pujya Swamiji tried. His favorite example was Gagabugang. Yeah. What do you understand? Brahman is Gagabugang. No, nobody understands anything. So you have to use words that people know. But the problem with the words that everybody knows is, along with the words, the ignorance is also part of that word. Time-boundness is part of that word. Why? Because of my own ignorance, I consider myself time-bound. So any existence that we talk about will be what? Time-bound. And so how to remove that time-boundedness from the word and retain what is called bhave prayoga, bhava sadhana, abstract usage. See, in Sanskrit we have direct usage and then we have indirect usage. Kartari prayoga, Rama went, Rama goes, Rama eats. And then eating is done by Rama, karmani prayoga. Passive usage. So we have active usage, passive usage in English, but in Sanskrit we also have abstract usage. Abstract usage where the subject is not important at all. Subject is not important at all in abstract usage. So existence here, if you use it in an abstract form, bhave prayoga, bhava sadhana it is called, then who exists and how is this existence measured is all removed. Time-boundedness between the exister and the existence and the nature of this existence is all removed. These are all common misunderstandings, and just the sheer abstract nature of this existence is retained. This is what is called lakshana. And this is how it is deployed. We use this even in our everyday life. Shveto dhavati. That means what? White runs. I didn't say horse. Who said horse? See me after class. So, white runs. And then everybody is perplexed. White runs? White is a color. Even if you say, oh, the colors are running in the wash, white color never runs. So you can't have the white running in any which way. White is an adjective to something that runs. But why is this person coming and whispering, white runs, white runs? And so we bring in the aforementioned horse. So this is so that you can put your bets. The white one is running, the white horse that is running is told to win. Has been told by somebody, I have a tip and I'm going to tell you that it is going to win. For a small fee, I will share that tip. So white runs is what is called Jahal Lakshana. Ajahal Lakshana. So where you have to bring in something else to make sense of that sentence. You retain the white and then you bring in something else. So this is called Ajahal Lakshana. And then there is Jahal Lakshana also. What is that? Bring me some water with some aqua in it. What? What? What is aqua? Water. Bring me some water with some water in it? No, this is code word. Bring me some water with something else mixed in it. And it should look like water because I want everybody to think I'm drinking what? Water. But something else hopefully intoxicating, should be mixed in it. So this is Jahal Lakshana. That aqua is taken away. Correct? In order to understand this, the word aqua must be given up. And then Atmavidya is conveyed through Jahad Jahal Lakshana. Jahat plus Ajahat, Jahad Jahal Lakshana, where something is retained and something is given up. Existence, sheer existence is retained, and then the time-boundedness of this existence, which we all think to be experientially true, is given up. Then what is the second word? This is Sat. Okay, what is the Sat now has been scrubbed, has been nicely scrubbed of its mortality and finitude, and now we have put it on the shelf. What is the next word? Jnanam. Chit. Jnanam. So Jnanam from Jna Dhatu, to know. And then Jna plus Anam. Anam is a suffix that makes it into a noun. Anam is a funny suffix because when you say Jna plus Anam, Jnanam, it can refer to Jnata. What is Jnata? Knower. It can refer to known, object of knowledge. It can also refer to the ways in which one knew something, such as ears, eyes, and various pramanas. So, jnanam, the word, already see how confusing it is. Jnanam means what? Pramana. Jnanam means knower. Jnanam means object of knowledge. Everything is jnanam. And so, what is this jnanam? First we'll take the object. Jnanam of what? The jna dhatu is sakarmaka dhatu. Sakarmaka dhatu means what? Transitive verb. Oh, that was so long ago I studied in grammar. I don't know the meaning of transitive verb. Transitive verb is that which begs the question what. You have to ask a question what in order for it to make sense. I know. What? What do you know? Same thing so supposing if you say I know. What do you know? But supposing if you say I sit, I can't say what do you sit? What do you stand? What do you eat? Yes, but what do you sit? What do you stand? Sitting and what do you sit on? That's different. I'm sitting on asanam, I'm sitting on chair. That's not what is asked here. Directly if you ask, what do you sit? It makes no sense. Akarmaka dhatu. So there is no auxiliary thing that in order to use that verb. But jna is transitive. Sakarmaka dhatu. So no means what? What do you know? So supposing we take jna to be the object of knowledge, and then what? What does it exclude? Subject it excludes, and then it excludes the means of knowledge also. And then if we take it to be jnata, jnanam means jnata, then what does it exclude? It excludes the means of knowledge again, and it excludes the object of knowledge. Then if we take it to be the means of knowledge, then it excludes the other two. What are the other two? Knower and known. So then, what is this jna? What is this jnanam? Again, abstract bhava sadhana usage. So this bhava sadhana usage, through that we say it is, the word jnanam does not refer to the knower, does not refer to the object of knowledge, does not refer to that which connects the knower to the object of knowledge either. What does it refer to? That without which there can be no knower, no known, and no means of knowing. That which sustains the knower-known knowledge, knower-known means of knowledge, without either being the knower, nor being the known, nor being the means of knowledge. Do you understand? No. Okay. So, we'll repeat it again. Okay? Bhuya eva bhagavan vijñāpayatu. So, there is I, correct? I know apple. So now, three things are there. I am there. Who is the I? Knower. The potential knower of this apple is here in the form of I, conscious being here. So this this person who is I, and then what else is there? What is the object of knowledge? Apple. Apple is also there. And how will I know this apple? By seeing. So, you can also know by smelling. Keep it simple, okay? Yeah. By seeing the apple, I know of its existence. So then I can say, I know apple. So there are three components in this knowledge. What are the three components? Knower, known, object of knowledge, and means of knowing. And what is this Atma? If Atma is just the knower, then what is the apple? Outside of that which is known? Can something be outside of Atma? No. So then, what is the means of knowledge? That is also has to be included in Atma. Anyadeva tad viditat atha u aviditat adhi. Anyadeva tad viditat. It is other than the known. It is not just apple known. This is not Atma. And then it is other than the knower, and it is other than the known, it is other than the... So that means apple will always remain unknown? No. It is other than the unknown. If we talk like this outside of this campus, yeah, they will say, please, yeah, spare me. Yeah. They will look at you like this. Anyadeva tad viditat atha u aviditat adhi. And how did you know how to talk like this? The Kenopanishad will volunteer. Iti shushruma purvesham yenas tadvyacha chakshire. This we heard from our teachers who taught us how to teach, who told us how to teach. This is beautiful. It is other than the object of knowledge, and yet it is not outside of that which is known. Yet it is not unknown, it is not the knower, it is not the means of knowing, and yet without whose invariable presence there can be no status called knower, no status called object of knowledge, no status called means of knowledge. These are all statuses. As though superimposed upon that jna, that jnapti swarupa, that knowingness which is free of being knower, which is free of being known, and which is free of being means of knowledge. Yet, without its presence, there is no knower, no known, no means of knowledge. It morphs, as it were, into the knower without becoming the knower. It morphs, as it were, to sustain the known as an object of knowledge without becoming that. It morphs into the means of knowledge without really becoming the means of knowledge. And all this is happening there is no time. It is happening simultaneously. Simultaneously, this Sat, which is at once Jnanam, Chit, is supporting the existence of the knower and the known and the means of knowledge without becoming, quote unquote, becoming any one of them. And how does it do that? Because of the third word. What is that? Satyam Jnanam Anantam. It is Anantam Sat. Anantam Jnanam. So the word Anantam, which means limitless, knocks off the limitations, is used to knock off the limitations surrounding the word existence and surrounding the words knowledge. This is so fascinating. This is so wonderful. So therefore, Satyam Jnanam Anantam. Satyam Jnanam Anantam becomes what? Mahavakya. Oh, I thought Mahavakya had Ishvara and Jiva. Where is Ishvara in Satyam Jnanam Anantam? Jnanam. Consciousness is Ishvara. But where am I? I don't see myself. Where am I? Jnanam. Yeah. I am Sat, you can't understand that. And if you understand that, what are you? Jnanam. As soon as you say, I am Sat, that means I am, what is that? Limitless existence. If you say that, what is it that you know? That is Jnanam. Not as an object of knowledge, but Jnapti Swarupa, as the very knowingness. Sat means being, Jnanam is knowing. So therefore, what is that? What am I? A knowing, limitless, knowing being. That is what I am. Where there are no limitations. The truth of me is this. So, no worship, Jnatritvam, no worship is a superimposition upon that Satyam Jnanam Anantam, upon that Sat which is free of no worship. Known-ship, the status of being an object of knowledge is also free of that known-ship. And then what else? And then in between, the means of knowledge is also free of being the means of knowledge. That which sustains all three. And if it has to be everything, it cannot be anything in particular. It cannot be anything in particular. And so therefore Sat and Chit are connected. Chit is Sat, Sat is Chit. We are talking of a sentient existence from which the sentience cannot be removed. And then this sentient existence is forever. Forever it is. So here when it says, in the beginning this Jagat was Sat, so when that word Sat is used, we have to bring in the other two as well. We have to bring in Jnanam. We have to bring in the Anantyam. Anantam Sat. Anantam Jnanam. So the word Anantam is a qualifier. It has a very important function of knocking off limitations connected to the words Sat and Chit. All the limitations are knocked off, so we have pure existence unconditioned by any upadhi. What is upadhi? Any kind of a agent, any kind of a, something that constricts this Sat. All constricting factors are mithya. Body is mithya, depending upon this very Sat. Mind is mithya, depending upon this very Sat. Everything is mithya. Mithya, 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 mithya. And what is this mithya? Non-separate from Sat. That is this mithya. But on the empirical reality, it shines as real because you don't know whether it exists or not. Sad asadbhyam anirvachaniyam, anirvachyam. You cannot categorically, like for example, the emotions. You cannot categorically say they exist. Because if they existed, if their existence was invariable, then in sleep what would you be doing? Laughing madly or crying. That doesn't happen. Okay? So that means in sleep the emotions are not there. But in waking up they are there. So, swakale satyavat bhati prabodhe sati asad bhavet. In its time, the emotions have such a grip on the person. The person says, oh, I'm not going to put up for this. I'm going to write a letter and cut off all connections with this idiot. Why are these people in my life? I'm going to make sure I do this, I do that. I go here, I go there. And then after that, you eat a piece of chocolate cake and suddenly everything is better. Not too bad. Yeah. That's why certain things are called comfort foods. Yes. So you cut yourself a nice piece of chocolate cake, inhale it, and then the emotions do not have a hold anymore. They are falsified, verily falsified. And so you see that all these things which really are existent, yes, they have an effect over me. Afterwards you find that they are not there at all. In the wake of this knowledge, same thing happens. That's why the knowledge is better than chocolate cake. Why? The chocolate cake goes away, finished. The knowledge stays with you. Once this Once these wrong notions, this anyatha jnanam is spirited away along with the ignorance, then what remains, remains. You cannot unknow the fact that you are Brahman. Thank God. Yeah. You cannot unsee that, you cannot unknow that once you know. There's no more ignorance. When there is no more ignorance, what else is not there? No more sorrow. Tarati shokam atmavit. More we'll see later. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadagya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.